Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. First of all, I just want to say I do apologize for being gone so very long. Just had so much going on since the last time I went live. Some big life moves, right? But nothing bad. Just great major life moves. So I've been very busy, but I'm back. I'm back today. So I've been having going live on my mind for a while now. And I just wanted to bring you all, some good content tonight. So tonight we will be talking about a common diagnosis in mental health. And the diagnosis that I will touch on tonight is anxiety, which is actually the most well, if not the most common, definitely one of the most common mental health issues that plagues individuals. So we'll get into some information about that. And also, I go into some coping skills about, for anxiety. We'll watch a video. Before I go any further, I just want to say rest in peace, Takeoff. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. So, I definitely give my condolences to the family and to everyone that's, feeling this huge loss. And also condolences to Eric Carter as well. So, before I go any further, I'm going to get me something to drink, allow a little time. I give it about 3 minutes to allow some people to come on. And I am aware that, some people are going to catch the live after it's over. So I understand that too. And if no one catches the live and just one person happens to catch it and it benefits them, that's good too. So, but we will get started in about 3 minutes. Just give people opportunity who wants to catch it live to come into the chat. And also, one thing I want to say, I do apologize for the screen being black. I don't know. I know when I first started streaming, it was another color, but I'm going to have to work on that. So, but anyway, I'll be back in about 3 to 4 minutes. My picture. So, where do I get started? So, like I did state earlier, we will be talking about one of the most common diagnoses in mental health, which is anxiety. It is very common. We will go into details about what that looks like. Before I go any further, though, I do want to give an update. So I think one of my last videos was on the 988, the new number for 911 when you're dealing with a mental health crisis. So the update I want to give about that is, as part of, um, well, not as part of, let me rephrase that. I will soon be working as a therapist for for that team, for mobile crisis team. So I will be the therapist, and if you go back and watch the video where I was talking about 988, you will, find out more information if you don't know what the 988 number is. It's basically the number that you call if you're experiencing mental health crisis and don't really have not did anything in a criminal light or anything like that. You're just having a mental health crisis, so you want to be, of course, seen by a therapist. So, like I said, I'm so excited to announce that I am now part of a mobile crisis unit. So it's new. I have not went out on my first assignment, so I am excited about it because, like I stated, if you go on my page, you will see where I made videos advocating for the 988 number, and I went into great detail about what it entails. And I won't do that now because this video is, not about 988, but you can definitely go check it out on my YouTube page. Of course, your favorite therapist dash Lily underscore Doobie. So you can, you're more than welcome to go check that out there. But the main thing is that I am now part of one of those mobile crisis units as the therapist, as the mental health therapist. So, okay, so now that we got that out the way, I know it's kind of late, so I want to just start into the content. I'm going to share my screen, and basically I'm just going to read this and just try to break it down if I feel that it's things that need more explaining. So, like I stated, we're gonna be talking about anxiety tonight. After we just go into some of the signs, symptoms, maybe possible treatment. We're gonna then look at a video on anxiety, and then if we have time, we will also go into some coping skills, but maybe not coping skills. I'm not sure. It all depends on how I feel, because I say that I would rather attend therapy and then we learn coping skills, because that is something, that you need to be practicing on a daily basis. But it all depends on how I feel. I might do in a freebie and, go through these coping skills. We'll see. All right. So let me see. Let me share my screen. Hold on. Am I sharing my screen? I haven't also. Just bear with me. It's like I'm starting all over again. Um, this one. Okay, here we go. So this is from this email address, not email address, website up top, psycom.net, and it's about anxiety. So basically, it says, "What is anxiety?" So basically, says who hasn't occasionally tossed and turned word, just upward and about, oh man, how I'm gonna pay my bills, or why am I feeling this way? Oh man, does she do they love me? Just all type of things that's just going on inside of your head, and it causes you to toss and turn, and that might be anxiety, but we're gonna get more into it. So it says angst is a natural response to life's ups, downs, twists, and turns. So that's angst, right? It says a certain amount of worry and hypervigilance can be considered normal and healthy reactions to life circumstances or immediate threats, which our therapist stated that. In fact, anxiety that causes you to become uneasy, that unsettling feeling, it basically puts you on alert that something unwelcome or uncertain is about to happen. So in this cause, it can actually benefit you. For example, for example, if I'm going to use me for example, right now I am currently and trying to obtain my doctorate, right? So it's the anxiety sometimes that causes me to do a great job. I know it sounds, kind of weird, but it is. So it's like, oh man, my heart is beating fast. I know I have to complete this. And literally that feeling does not stop, or that feeling does not ease until I have completed this work. So in that case, that anxiety feeling, like that uneasy, unsettling feeling, it caused me to complete my schoolwork. Or for example, I'm sorry, not for example, but another example would be, you have, let's see, something important to do. Okay, but you feeling uneasy about it, or you feeling anxious about it. But until you get that completed, a lot of times that feeling will not go away. So in that case, it has its benefits. So I don't want to just sit up here and tell you that, oh no, no anxiety is not good for you. You should not have any anxiety. No, that's not what I'm saying. So in some cases, anxiety does have its benefits, but sometimes anxiety gets overwhelming. And we'll continue into the content. So, like it says here, anxiety can motivate you to work hard on important tasks, as I just mentioned about, completing my schoolwork, um, and also protect you against the immediate threat of violence when your fight or flight instinct kicks in. So basically, a lot of times you may feel like something is not right, you know. So it's like you start feeling anxious. You start, you know, and at that time you have to make up your mind. Even though I'm feeling uneasy and unsettling, do I still just stay in this situation, or do I stand right here? So, which means that you stay there to fight. Basically, that's the fight or flight instinct. Or do I run? So, in that case, anxiety is also can help you in those situations. And I know I don't want to go into too much detail about, far as when I see my clients, but like I stated earlier, anxiety is a, if not the most common diagnosis, it is definitely one of the most common diagnoses. So it's a lot of individuals that deal with anxiety, and that's because it's the fight or flight responses. It was instilled in us from back in the day when we had to, outrun things in the past. We didn't always have cars, right? You know, we didn't always have horses. So I'm meaning a long time ago, when we had to decide, we didn't have phones, we didn't have any of those things. So only thing we had was our fight or flight response. So that's what the anxiety, that's how it got built into us, because it was like at that moment, do I stand here and fight this big old animal, or do I run? Do I fight, or do I flight, which is means run? So that played us a lot, our ancestors a lot back in the days. But even though we no longer are in those type of situations, it's still built inside of us, the same fight or flight. I hope that makes sense. If not, reach out to me. I'll explain it more to you. Okay, but it says, so now we get into when anxiety becomes an issue. Because like we just said, anxiety within itself it can benefit you. It's a natural instinct, but it can become quite overwhelming. Let's see. It says anxiety can quickly. take a turn from motivator to underminer when it starts to cause you those physical feelings, like, I'm sorry, physical symptoms such as sweating, you get chills, your chest tighten, heart is just beating, pounding out your chest. Now, I know I have felt anxiety, and I have felt mostly all of these symptoms of anxiety. And if we're being honest, I'm assuming, I'm thinking a lot of individuals have felt this feeling, especially that heart racing out your chest. If I was to ask right now how many people have felt that feeling, I'm pretty sure most of the room, and maybe I'm just assuming, I'm not sure, but you know, I'm thinking a lot of people have felt that feeling because it's a natural instinct. And then along with the heart racing, you get the sweating, the chills, the chest tightening. Let me turn this music down just a bit. I don't want to go listen back to this. And I found out it was so loud. Okay, so let's go back to where we're at. So, ooh, I'm showing you the content before I get there. Okay, so like I was saying, it's the heart racing, the sweats and chills, the tightening of the chest, and even it might even interrupt, your ability to focus on things, even when you don't even have immediate dangerous threat. So it's based, like I was saying earlier, it's a natural instinct. It's the fight or flight instinct. It kicks in. So it was basically instilled in us from ancestors' time. I mean, long, long time ago. But we really don't have those type of situations occur. Of course, we have, we worry or we think about uh, you know, things, but not like major things for why the fight or flight response was initially placed into us to, our ancestors. For example, they were running from big animals or just any real life threat. So they either had to fight this threat or they had to run. So now where we're at now is we get all these physical symptoms, heart racing, sweat and chills, but we don't have like this immediate threat. So even though it's that same instinct to fight or flight, we're not going to fight or flight because there's not really nothing to fight or flight from. So we're having this built up of all these physical symptoms, but it's like it's no release to them because we don't have anything to fight or flight. You know, does that make sense? Like it says there is no immediate or dangerous threats present. So what are you gonna fight? What are you gonna fight? So it's just continue to build up. This heart racing continues to build up because you're not able to release it because it's not anything to fight or run from. Okay, so like I said, I hope that made sense too. And if you want more information, you can always reach out to me and I can explain this more in depth to you. Okay. And please excuse me, I haven't been feeling well. Well, I'm not going to claim that I feel okay, but we had some type of bug going around our house. But, everybody is feeling okay. So I might, sound a little, let out a couple coughs, but I'm okay. So it says other symptoms can include shaking, right? Stomach aches, excessive worrying, ruminating, just thinking about the same thing over and over and over and over, or even not wanting to go to certain places or go to these certain activities because you know it's gonna cause these physical symptoms, or even be around certain people. One of the symptoms that get me is the stomach aches because of course, I'm not going to give any identified information, but I had a client before and she was surprised that the anxiety she was feeling, I'm sorry, the stomach aches that she was feeling was a result of the anxiety. So You may think that that something is seriously, which anxiety can be serious. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to undermine it whatsoever. But what I'm saying, you may think if you're having these constant stomach aches or shaking, you might not, you know, contribute it to anxiety. Or maybe you would. Who knows? But I know my client could not believe that this was the reason of the stomach aches. So it says anxiety by itself is not a disorder. So just like we mentioned earlier, anxiety can benefit you if you need to get something accomplished. A lot of times those symptoms are those physical symptoms, the heart racing, the worrying about it. A lot of times those symptoms are going to stay until you accomplish that task, right? So just having the anxiety by itself, maybe I need to back up a little bit. Hold on. So we're going to leave the physical symptoms out. Just having anxiety, which pushes you to accomplish a task, that by itself is not a disorder. But so scratch what I just said. Sorry, I might try to edit that. But when you start adding the physical symptoms on and emotional symptoms, that's when it becomes an actual disorder. So, like it says here, it's the physical and emotional symptoms that turns it into this disorder. Something is a sign that something is wrong physically or emotionally, or that we're not safe in our environment or within ourselves. So it causes, it's a cause for concern because why am I feeling this way? Why am I having so much anxiety? Why is my heart beating so fast out of my chest? Why is my stomach hurting this way? Why am I worrying about this certain thing? Why am I not wanting to go to this place, be around these activities? So it's a cause for concern, and really um it really causes you to um check your environment and check yourself as well, because like it says, it's it lets us know that something is going on. Let's see, and it becomes problematic when it affects your functioning, so like your daily functioning. So for example, if I have schoolwork due, and once I'm done with that schoolwork, once I turn it in, do a good job. Because best believe I might have that anxiety all the way until that assignment is turned in, and then it instantly goes away. Now, if I'm feeling as anxious, or that those uh, anxious symptoms, right? And I turned in my homework, but those signs are still there. My heart is still pumping out of my chest. I'm still ruminating. I'm still just feeling all these physical and emotional symptoms. That's a cause for concern. That's let me know that something is not right. Like what's going on. It's a cause for concern. And so not only not only am I exhibiting these physical symptoms, it's also so now, because I was feeling these symptoms all night, and I'm just making an example. Since I was feeling these symptoms all night, now it causes me to be late from work. Now it's affecting my daily functioning, right? Because your what affects your daily functioning is it affects your work life, your home life, or if you're in school, your school life, right? So if anything affects those your daily functioning in those areas, that means that's something to consider. It's I'm not gonna say it's a cause for concern 100% of the time, but just think about it. If something is affecting the way you work, right, or if you're in school, affecting that, I'm just saying on a constant basis, on a daily basis, or affecting your home life, you know, why not see what's going on? It only makes sense. So, okay, so it says it's an umbrella term that is that refers to a category of psychiatric conditions characterized by extreme fear or worry. So basically, it's a lot. So if you just hear anxiety, right? A lot of people, like to use. Well, I'm not gonna use that word, but what I'm gonna say is, a lot of people will just say, "I have anxiety," right? Not knowing it's so many different forms of anxiety. It's a lot of diagnosis related to anxiety. Well, not a lot, but we're going to go into them. So that's why they say the anxiety disorder is the umbrella term. So it's other anxiety related disorders that fall under this umbrella, which is characterized by extreme fear or worry. Excuse me. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to take about a 3-minute break. I need me some tea, some honey tea at that, and I'll be right back. All right. I'm so sorry about that. I'm gonna try to edit that out once I learn how to do that. But like I said, I had to go fix me some hot tea. I'm not feeling 100% right now, but I'm good. So back to the content we go. All right, so I guess I can try to make this bigger for those that are actually reading this with me. So this just goes back, and I think it was something that I failed to mention when I was going over this information. Let me see, or did I get down to it yet? Okay, I'm just getting to it. So, like I mentioned earlier, that anxiety is so many, not so many, but it is some anxiety related disorders, but they fall up under the anxiety disorder umbrella, which is characterized by extreme fear or worry. So I know I mentioned earlier that anxiety, because you remember earlier I was trying to be modest and I commented that anxiety, if it's not the most common mental illness, it's definitely one of the most common. So, but right here it does say that anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the United States, and it affects 40 million adults and or 18.1% of the population. So, if you are feeling anxious or at these anxiety symptoms, please don't feel like you're alone because you can clearly read here that it affects a lot of individuals. Okay? So, and if you're in Florida and you need assistance, we're just learning those coping skills, just learning these daily skills you need to better, to be able to better function with anxiety. Because here's the thing about anxiety. I don't know if you want to hear this or not, but the thing about anxiety is usually passed on to you. So, for example, one of your parents, someone in your family and your close relatives had anxiety, more than likely you probably deal with it too. So it's not like it really goes away. You just learn how to deal with it. You learn how to deal with those physical and emotional symptoms that come along with this disorder. All right. So it says 1 in 13 people suffer from anxiety. For example, if you go to work tomorrow, everyone is in the lunchroom and there's 13 of you all, just know at least one person, if not more, are suffering from anxiety. Like we just said, it's the most common mental disorder. And with generalized anxiety disorder being the biggest, the most common one. And I can attest to that because I don't want to go to like I don't like to go into too much information about who I service because I'm always afraid of giving out too much information, even though I won't. Um, but just let's just say generalized anxiety disorder is very common. Okay, so now we're just going to go into the six common types of anxiety disorder. So just going to do a quick recap, like I was saying earlier. So anxiety disorder, that's just a generalized phrase, generalized blanket term, right? So most of the times when an individual is, let me turn down this music. I forgot to turn it back down. A lot of times when an individual is dealing with anxiety, most of the times it's going to be some type of specific anxiety. It's most of the times it's not just going to be anxiety disorder. So you'll see what I mean by that in a few minutes. So, like the title states, it's six common types of anxiety. So the number one is generalized anxiety disorder, also known as GAD. So this type of anxiety disorder, it's characterized by just worrying about everything, just like all the time. You just cannot stop worrying about it. And I just want to be honest about it. I have dealt with anxiety. Um, this one, as a matter of fact, I no longer deal with it any longer. But in my past, I have dealt with anxiety, so I know the feeling. It says people with GAD. So basically, what they're doing is they may anticipate disaster. So even though nothing has not happened yet, they're saying, okay, what if this happens? What would I do if this happened? Oh man, what am I going to do if this happens? And it might be about money, health, family, work, or other issues, but you just always anticipate that something bad is going to happen. It says that these individuals find it difficult to control their worry. So, I mean, I know. Um, well, let me scratch that. Let's go here. So, even though when we were talking about anxiety earlier, I said that it could possibly be a benefit if, but not this, but I'm saying just a generalized anxiety when you have a something to accomplish, or when you might be like in a dangerous place and you're feeling anxious. That's your cue to get out of there. Or when you have homework due, that's your cue to, I need to finish this work. Or when you, even if you're at work and you have a task, you're feeling that anxiety because you need to complete the task. Now, if you're worried about it, persistent worry, so this is going beyond that benefit of anxiety. Now you just worry like every day, all day about everything. That's when you know that it has become overwhelming, and you might want to, seek some assistance to help you manage these symptoms, because you don't have to just suffer with it. It is it's it's coping skills. It's just various tools that you can learn in order to deal with this type of anxiety. Let's see. It says they may worry more about they they may worry more than what seems warranted about the event. Even it might not even be a reason for you to be worried this way, but you just cannot help it. It just continue to play in your mind, what if this happens, what if that happens. And like before you know it, you're just going on a roller coaster. Now you're on a roller coaster, you can't really stop thinking about it. Your heart is beating fast, you worry, and now it's about to affect your daily functioning, because if you're in a relationship and you're doing this type of worry, I'm pretty sure your partner is like, what is going on with you? If you have to go to work, you're at work, and you're feeling this type of way, I'm pretty sure it's going to affect your work performance. And if you are, still in school and you're having this type of worry, it's going to affect your school functioning. So that's what I mean about once anxiety starts affecting your daily functioning or your functioning in life, which is, your functioning as far as works work goes, home goes, and if you're still in school. So another one is agoraphobia. So this is an intense fear and anxiety of any place or situation where escape might be difficult. So this is your individuals that are scared to travel in an airplane, because everyone knows if you've been in an airplane, once you're up in the sky, that's it. You just gotta sit there until the plane lands. So if you're afraid of being on a plane, I hope you don't have a long flight, because you're not going anywhere until that plane lands. So that's so you if you can't even get on the plane and you're just thinking about getting on the plane, you're like, your heart starts beating fast, and you just start having, you start sweating, start shaking. More than likely you have agoraphobia, maybe. Or and it can happen within the car. I know When I was a young girl, I was in a bad car accident, right? And it happened in the left lane, and we hit the wall in the left lane, right? And for years and years, I mean, it was up until I was up into my 20s before I would even get in the left lane. So none of that I look back, even though I didn't know about what agoraphobia was at the time, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was because I definitely had that intense fear and anxiety anytime anyone got anywhere close to that left lane. So this could happen with a car, bus, airplane, or being in a crowded area. A lot of individuals experience that too, just being around a lot of people. It causes that intense fear and anxiety. So it's a name for that. So if you're feeling that way, don't think that you're just alone or something is wrong with you. It's a name for it. Uh, like it says here, you may think of it as people who are afraid to leave their house. So that's when you really got it bad. You won't even leave your house because you're just so afraid, or just the thought of being around other people causes you fear and anxiety. Like you won't be able to escape from the situation. Panic disorder. I know a lot of individuals experience panic disorders as well. Let's see. Let me go back. So panic disorder is basically spontaneous, seemingly out of the blue panic attacks. Um, so that falls under the anxiety disorder umbrella as well. The phobia, like a lot of people are scared of heights. That's a phobia. Scared of spiders, scared of snakes, all those type of things. Those are phobias that also falls up under anxiety. Separation anxiety is when you don't want to be away from your home or be away from someone that you're very close to. A lot of kids have separation anxiety, especially when they first go to school. Adults have it too, though, but you see that a lot in kids. Next, we have social anxiety disorder. Social anxiety disorder basically is when you have anxiety or fear of being judged, someone looking at you in the wrong light, or just feeling like you're going to be rejected in a social performance situation. It's also called, it's called social anxiety disorder. So I'm not going to go too much into. So I really pretty much gave you an overview of what these are. The generalized anxiety disorder. It's getting late, so I'm not trying to step off. But I did want to just, say hello to everyone because I've been gone for a while. I've been gone for a while, but I had a lot going on. Just starting going back to school and moving to a new place, a new city, and just a lot of life events happen. But I'm back now. So this is, and if you, like I said, I went over what this was like earlier. So if you think this may be you, you can reach out to me if you live in Florida for that free consultation, or and also you can quick Google or give you more information. Therapy works very well with this type of disorder. I've had, a lot of success with treating this type of disorder. So we have, and then some symptoms. I just want to go over some quick symptoms. So it's like that restlessness, feeling keyed up or on edge, being easily fatigued, difficulty concentrating, feeling irritable, muscle tension, and sleep disturbance. So if you're having at least three of those symptoms, you may to just reach out and talk to a therapist and just see, you know, because you don't have to just suffer with it. Let's see. Like I said, I'm not gonna go too much into this. Okay, so I think that's Oh, let me go into some risk factors because that's very important. So, like the doctor says, all of us are likely to experience anxiety at some point. Like I stated, to be fully transparent, I have experienced anxiety. It's common. It's the most common mental illness. So it's going to be a lot of individuals that have experienced this type of illness. But debilitating anxiety disorders are often seen in people who already have like the depressive disorders, anxiety disorders, or other mood disorders in their genetic history. I was stating that earlier. Basically, if it runs in your family, more than likely you're gonna have it too, and that's the way it is. As a matter of fact, a lot of disorders are, you know, genetic, which it makes sense because you're sharing your DNA with someone. Of course, you're gonna have a lot of same, um, some of the same. I'm trying to put this in a nice way. Some of the same makeup as those that you share your DNA with, and also people with depression also have anxiety. So a lot of times those two are gonna present together. And it does not discriminate. It doesn't care who you are. You could be young, old, rich, poor. It doesn't matter. So, and it says what triggers the anxiety. It says each type of anxiety is triggered by different things. For example, if experiencing trauma, and then so you experience some type of trauma in your life, and then after you experience the trauma, it's a reminder of the trauma, and then being predisposed to anxiety, coupled with growing up in an environment that feels unsafe, unstable, whether physically or emotionally, or going through a difficult experience such as a car accident. All these type of things can trigger anxiety. So, for example, if you went through some type of trauma and then you have a reminder of the trauma, you can experience those symptoms. If you've been predisposed to anxiety, along with having that unstable environment, all those things can trigger anxiety. And it also can be set off by the need to succeed, like just having a strong need to succeed and putting pressure on yourself. By being in an abusive situation, you feel you can't escape, or even fears of recurrent panic attacks. And then also those major life events can definitely cause anxiety. Those major events like starting a new job, a divorce, death in the family, or a move can also trigger anxiety. So all of those things. So when you're making those big major life events, just be on the lookout for anxiety, because those type of events can trigger those anxious symptoms. So this is what's going on in the brain. This just, you can Google this if you would like, but it's definitely something that's going on in your brain when you're experiencing anxiety. And it also happens in kids. Like it says, 7.1% of children aged 13 to 18 have some type of diagnosed anxiety disorder. And like I was saying earlier, it's definitely a very common uh, mental um, health disorder. So, um, and this is how is it diagnosed? Well, if you want to diagnose, for one, you can come and see me and see your psychiatrist. Um, so if you think you fit the criteria for the things that have been said here, or if you wanted to Google the symptoms, or if you already know you have anxiety, um, that's how you would get diagnosed. It's these symptoms. Let me just go back up a little. Um, so it's that constant worrying, the inability to relax, quiet time, just feeling tense all the time, that muscle tightness, the body aches, the not wanting to be around stressful situations, not being able to concentrate, like you usually would, the not being able to tolerate uncertainty, constant feelings of dread or apprehension, always feeling that, always feeling like you're so overwhelmed. Intrusive thoughts or things that's causing you to worry just continue to play in your mind. Not being able to sleep, or if you're sleeping, not sleeping well, jumpy on edge or restless, upset stomach, tired all the time, heart racing. So I know a lot of people know anxiety to be, that racing heart, but it's a lot more symptoms that also go along with it. Shaking, sweating or dry mouth, uh, always been irritable, cold, chills, hot flashes, feeling lightheaded, dizzy. If you're feeling any of these symptoms, I would suggest that you just reach out to a professional so that you can, learn some skills to deal with the anxiety symptoms. Let's So it says the first step is to see a therapist when stress builds up or you notice your anxiety increasing. And it's usually treated with cognitive behavior therapy. For example, if I was your therapist and you were coming to me for treatment, more than likely we would do the cognitive behavior therapy. I have found that to be very um, beneficial in treating anxiety disorders, especially the GAD, the generalized anxiety disorder. So I would utilize the cognitive behavior therapy. And if you would like to know more about the cognitive behavior therapy, I do have a video on my page where I go into full detail about, what cognitive behavior therapy is, or for short, CBT. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about what it is, but it is a video that's listed on the page. And then you could do some deep breathing, some meditation, yoga, and just positive thinking. See, when you start learning the CBT guides you in the way of doing that. Um, and this is just some other ways, uh, um, treatment options that therapists use. Like I said, my go-to is CBT because I have really found that to work very. It works quickly and also efficiently. That's usually my go-to. And of course, you can if it's just so extreme that I think you need medication along with the therapy. They definitely have medications for anxiety disorder. For example, they have the Prozac, the Paxil, Zoloft, Lexapro, and just all type of medications. But of course, you will want to talk to a psychiatrist before indulging in any type of medication. So I'm not endorsing just okay, this is what I need. No, talk to a psychiatrist, and they will, you can have process that with the psychiatrist. Okay, so that's basically it for anxiety. So I basically went into everything about anxiety, what it looks like. I didn't go into full detail, but I did give you a great overview of what it looks like, and you should be able to tell if you're exhibiting these type of symptoms. Right now, I'm gonna just share my website, thevalierconsultingservices.com. And like I mentioned earlier, if you are in Florida, I do offer a free consultation for the first meeting. So Just look at it as when you first come, the first meeting would basically be free, 15 to 30 minutes. And then at that time, we would, you could schedule for that individual session, or if you wanted to present as a couple, you could also schedule for couple or families. So I see family, couples, and individuals. So I do have my website up at the time. And now, like I said, once we got done with the signs and symptoms of anxiety, I was going to show you a video. So let's go into the video at this moment. I think I'm going to have to turn this music off. All right.
Have you ever not done something that you really wanted to do because you felt nervous or anxious about it? Like
give me a second. I'm just pulling up the video. It's a quick video. It's only maybe about 4 minutes. So, all right. Here we go. All right. Let me just make sure I see it.
Have you ever not done something that you really wanted to do because you felt nervous or anxious about it? Like maybe going skydiving or traveling around the world to a country whose language you don't speak. Or maybe something more day-to-day, like asking someone on a date, or just stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something that you wouldn't usually do. When you don't do these things, when you don't face your fears, anxiety has a tendency to grow. And this is explained by something called the cycle of anxiety or the cycle of avoidance. The first step in the cycle is anxiety. This step begins when you're first confronted with that thing that makes you feel nervous or afraid or anxious. When you're confronted with this, you start to develop these uncomfortable symptoms. These are the symptoms of anxiety. Things like a racing heart, butterflies in your stomach, sweating or trembling, or just thoughts of being overwhelmed or afraid. When you start to feel these symptoms, the key point is that you really want to get away from them because they're so uncomfortable. You just want those symptoms to disappear. The second step in the cycle of anxiety is avoidance. When the symptoms of anxiety get to be too much, too uncomfortable, it becomes really tempting to find a way to get rid of them. And the easiest way to do that is to just avoid whatever's causing them. Now, physical avoidance is one way to do this, and that's just to remove yourself from that situation. So, for example, someone who doesn't want to give a presentation at work or school, they might skip class or call in sick to work so they don't have to do it. Another form of avoidance is emotional avoidance. This is when someone faces that fear, but they find a way to suppress that anxiety or the emotions that go with it. A good example of this is someone at a party who's shy, doesn't really want to talk to people because they're nervous, so they drink until that anxiety goes away. That way they can avoid the uncomfortable emotions. Now, avoidance isn't always bad. Most of us have a healthy level of fear about things like snakes. We might not go stomping around in tall grass because we don't want to get bitten. And in those cases, avoidance can actually be a good thing. The third step in the cycle is short-term relief from anxiety. What this means is a person's made that decision to not face their fear, and it works. They get that relief. Those symptoms, they go away. Make the decision to skip your presentation, you get to stay home, lie on the couch, watch TV, and it feels really good. The problem is that relief, it's short-lived, and it has costs that come with it. If you skip work, someone else is going to get that promotion over you. You skip school, you're going to get worse grades. If you don't ask someone on a date, you might miss a great opportunity. This brings us to the fourth and final step in the cycle, which is long-term anxiety growth. What this means is you've avoided that thing that caused the anxiety, the symptoms went away, and the anxiety lessened, but then in the long term, the anxiety actually grows. This is because when you avoid something, the brain learns a simple lesson. It learns when I skip school, I feel good. When I skip work, I feel good. When I don't face my fears, I feel good. Every time you do that, it becomes more and more ingrained, and you become more likely to avoid something in the future. To break out of the cycle of anxiety, all you have to do is face your fears. Of course, this is easier said than done, but every time that you face them, it becomes a little bit easier. Your brain learns the opposite lesson. It learns, I faced my fear, it was okay. Now, a mental health professional can help you with this by gradually exposing you to those fears in a safe way, starting with something smaller and working your way up. If you practice this enough, you can overcome your anxiety.
Alrighty, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I just went more to detail, about the cycle of anxiety because it's definitely a cycle. And even though, like the video mentioned, even though avoiding the event that's causing you the anxiety of this or the thought or the situation, it may feel good in the short term, but it's basically your brain is just trying to block it out, and it will continue to grow and grow. So at the end of the day, you might as well just face that fear and get it over with. And 'cause like I stated at the beginning of the video, when I'm doing homework, I do feel the anxious feeling, but once I turn in the work, it goes away. But if I don't turn in the work, it's gonna be there until I finally turn in the work or drop out of school. So, even the outcomes of not facing that, anxiety and saying, okay, well, I just drop out of school, but that's not good, or I won't turn in the homework. And if I don't turn in the homework, the anxiety will definitely stay. So, but I know I stated that I would go into some coping skills for anxiety, but I know it's getting late. So, this video will not include the coping skills, but if you go on to my YouTube channel, I didn't give much because that would be one of the benefits of showing up to therapy is learning those coping skills with your therapist and finding the appropriate skills that will be beneficial to your situation. So but I think I've been on here a little over an hour now. Time does fly when you're having fun. I will try to come back on a more regular basis, maybe beginning tomorrow. And when I come back, I'm more than likely going to have on my camera. But I hope everyone enjoyed the content. Talking, just talking about anxiety, what it looks like. And if you have any questions, my website is on the bottom. You can, like I said, if you're in Florida, you can schedule a free consultation. And also, let's see. And also my YouTube channel, if you wanted to leave a message there, your favorite therapist, dash Lily underscore Duv. I think on my Facebook is your favorite therapist. I'm not sure. I don't even know what it is, but it will show up on my Facebook channel. So if you're one of my Facebook friends and you just want to know more about this topic, you can send me a message and I'll be more than happy to give you more information. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go finish my hot tea with honey and get ready for this week. I hope everyone has a blessed week, and I hope no weapon formed against anyone prospers. And I hope your anxiety is at the minimum for this week. All right, thank you for joining, and I'll talk to you later.